And we're just going to jump right into our panel discussion here. Now, we're going to be talking about the new normal for professional service firms. And we have on screen right now our moderator for today from the Board of Advisors of GTR Ventures. Let's say hello to Jasmine Ng. Hi, Jasmine.
Hi, morning. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, good morning. And you can see the rest of our panelists are also joining us as well. We would also like to welcome Dr. Noor Mazila, the CEO of Malaysian Institute of Accountants. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good
it's really
morning.
Good that you're having here.
Yes, and we're so happy to have you guys joining us here today. Now, Noor Mazila, can you speak a little bit louder? Because I think on my end, it's just a tad softer. So do you have a microphone by any chance?
Yeah, I do have a microphone, but let me fix that and
okay.
I'll sure. Get back to you.
Okay, sure. You can do that while I introduce the rest of our panelists here today.
Yes.
Now, up next, we also like to welcome Farah Roseby, the president of the Chartered Tax Institute of Malaysia. Hey, Farah, come on in. Let's give Farah a moment. Now, Christopher Yap, the Managing Director of Business Banking for AmBank Group, was supposed to be joining us here today, but of course he had something to attend to, so he will not be joining us here today, but I believe that's understandable. Now, next, we also like to welcome the founder and CEO of Exabytes, the man himself, Chan Siak. Hi.
Hi, good morning, Lauren. Hi, all the panelists.
Hi, Chan. How's the family doing?
Doing well, thank you.
All right, I hope you guys are having a good time. Now, finally, we also like to welcome the partner from Christopher and Leong, Tracy Wong. Hi, Tracy. Tracy, I believe you are on mute. We can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. I believe someone's mic is a little bit loud. I can hear breathing. So perhaps. Farah is still not here. We are looking for Farah. Hey, Farah, if you're here, come on in and join us. We're waiting for you. Farah Roseby, the president of CTIM. Or we can actually start without her and she can come in later on. Okay, Jasmine, I believe you can start your session first and hopefully Farah will join us in just a bit.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here. So we've got a very interesting discussion in terms of how the professional services not just strive, but thrive in this new normal and after this pandemic. And I would invite each panelist to share a little bit about what they do and how they support professional services and what is the role they play in terms of the professional services industry. And then we will go into questions and answers.
All right. So fantastic. Jasmine, just hold on here. To the rest of the panelists, can you hear Jasmine clearly? Because I'm having a little bit of trouble as well.
Yeah, actually, I do have a trouble to hear Jasmine. I think it's not very clear.
Yeah.
It's echoing. Yes.
Yeah. If you could plug in your microphone, that would be great as well. So for the rest of the attendees, we do apologize once again. We're trying to sort out our technical issues today, but we thank you for your patience and understanding. Let's give Jasmine a moment here. And once again, might I just remind you that if you have any questions for our panel discussion today, go ahead and leave them in the Q&A box if you're on Zoom. That's right beneath your screen. And if you're watching this on Facebook, leave them in the comments and our Exabytes team will pick it up and send it my way. So thank you once again. Hey. Farah's joined us. Hi, Farah.
Hi, Lauren.
Yes, thank you for joining us. We missed you just now. Jasmine, you were saying about your audio quality?
Is it better?
I still think it could be clearer. It's still kind of echoey on our end.
Oh, okay. Then I may have to sign up and sign back in and change to a different device. Is that possible?
Let me just, I think for the sake of everybody, let's try that because I think it's important that everybody hears what you have to say. You are our moderator, so go ahead, sign up, and I will be here to buffer while we wait. Okay, fantastic. So Farah, you just joined us. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Lauren. I had a little bit of a technical glitch, so I decided to exit and came back, and I hope I'm loud and clear. Good to meet
Yes, you're
everyone.
loud and clear. We can hear you very, very clearly. Unfortunately, that is not the case with Justin, so let's give her a bit of time. Technical issues seem to be something that we're facing today, and unfortunately has affected our time a little bit. So once again, we apologize for that to everyone else who's watching. But if you are watching this as well, don't forget to share this live stream on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to follow us on our social handles, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel, because we will be uploading all the slides and video presentations from today's event over there. So we'll get back to you via email. So sit back and relax. Don't worry about it. We've got you here. Okay. Tracy, would you like to unmute your mic?
Sure.
Okay, so I believe you can speak a little bit louder as well. I'm so sorry. It's kind of hard to coordinate so many people at once. But yes, you have a session later on, so perhaps you'd like to tell the rest of our attendees what that's about.
Sure, happy to. My session later will just be giving a quick overview in terms of the legal framework for payments. I understand it's not exactly on topic with what we're talking about today on the new normal for professional service firms, but effectively what I experience as a lawyer myself is that I notice a lot of my clients are moving online and they want to understand what then the regulatory implications are on them. So I thought that would be useful knowledge for all of us here to at least have to learn a little bit more about in case you have clients or issues or you yourself are even exploring this, then you may be interested to hear about. So that's what we're going to be talking about later.
All right, fantastic. And I will give you a second to step out and of course have a quick drink of water, because it's not easy to do a panel discussion and then do a separate presentation on your own. It is tough, I know that.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we're looking forward to that. Now, Dr. Mazila, let's talk to you for a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Anything you want to ask?
Well, to the rest of you guys who are watching, if there's anything you want to ask her personally or regarding to our topic, just go right ahead and drop us a question. But
Yeah.
for now, what are your plans for the weekend?
Wow. Well, actually, there's a lot of durians around town nowadays. I think it's the season, and every weekend I'll go around and look for the best of the durians.
I see. All right. So you have a specific favorite?
Yeah, I've tried a few of those different types, and I actually prefer the what they call D24. The Musang King is a bit too rich for me, so D24 is just fine.
All right. So I think like while waiting for Jasmine, she's back here. Hi, Jasmine. How is your audio quality like?
How does it sound?
To the rest of the panelists, is that better for you all?
Yeah, I can hear her clearer.
It's better.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
better.
fantastic. So Jasmine, whenever you're ready, please take it away.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. So welcome to the panel session. And as I was already saying, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself and what you do with regards to the professional services industry. And then we'll start the round of questions. I would here invite all the audiences, if you have any specific questions that you would like any of the panelists to answer for you, please feel free to post it up and we will be happy to address it. Okay, shall we start with Dr. Noor Mazila?
Yeah, hi Jasmine. Just call me Noor. I'm the just call me Noor. I'm the CEO of the Malaysian Institute of Accountants, and a bit of this MIA is not missing in action, but it stands for Malaysian Institute of Accountants. We are actually a state body under the Ministry of Finance. So the institute basically register all accountants, and it issues the practicing certificates to all accountants. But on top of that, there's our role is larger than the registration and the issuance of certificates. We actually develop and we regulate the profession. But on the development part, with regards to digital technology, we are very excited with what we have issued, what we call digital technology blueprint. And this digital technology blueprint was issued in 2018, and we are on the implementation stages, and it will go until another few years for the full outcome or values to be seen. And the digital technology blueprint basically is connected to our greater mission to make the accountancy profession to be future relevant. So we have this project called Future Relevance of Accountancy Profession, or in short is FRAP, FRAP, and it actually connects so much with our digital technology blueprint. So basically is to ensure that accountants are relevant to the businesses, especially within this digital era. So if you have clients, where their data is stored end to end, and we would like to encourage the firms to also adopt technology in their audits or in whatever services that they provide to the businesses. So, but one of the things that we just launched last week, we launched what we call a e-confirm, electronic bank confirmation, where we work together with the major banks in Malaysia, and this project is supported by Bank Negara, as well as the Association of Banks Malaysia. So which means that for audit exercise where they need bank confirmation, in the past they actually send hard copies of confirmation through the post, and they receive back the hard copies through the post. But we changed that altogether. They can just log into the system, request, and the banks will reply from the system and give them the figures. So that's what we have actually launched last week, and there are a few more initiatives that we are rolling out. And I'm also very excited with the smart automation grant. We've been working very closely with MDEC, and one of the initiative other than digital adoption is data-driven organization. So we also have that initiative that we collaborate with MDEC to encourage accountants to move into being a data-driven strategist. Yeah, so basically those are initiatives that the institute has, and we're very excited about collaboration with all other partners.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Noor. Next up, we would like to hear from Farah. Farah, would you like to share with regards to the profession and the role you have, and CTIM's role in this whole professional services?
Thank you, Jasmine. And first of all, very good still morning to all the participants, and I'm privileged to be here with the rest of the panel here, and and I hope all of you are in good health. I'm the president of Chartered Tax Institute of Malaysia. We are a professional tax body, and it is actually governed by myself together with 15 other council members, whom are all also in the professional line. Myself, for example, I'm actually also with Ernst & Young, and many of my other council members are also within the professional services firm. And I'm also a member of MIA. And I do also contribute together with Dr. Noor, in the professional body. So actually, our world is so small. We are very much interrelated. The only difference is at CTIM, we specialize and we focus very much on the issue of taxation. I like to pride to say then that Chartered Tax Institute, we are the premier national tax body, and what we do is then that we manage various stakeholders, ranging from the members, the taxpayers, corporates, individuals, and we bridge this relationship with the government, from the Inner Revenue Board to the Customs Department, as well as dealing with policymakers such as Ministry of Finance. And we work closely to ensure then that there is good understanding of tax compliance, tax legislations and tax regulations, and how we can actually bring all this together to support the growth of the economy. Of course, we have the one part which is a very much technical side of taxation, and I'm sure Dr. No could also see that in the accounting profession is also the same, the standards and all that. So we have that side, but we also pride ourselves in actually having the other part, which is actually continuous education and training, not just to our members, but also to the young tax professionals. Yeah, because we see then that the tax profession is actually very, very relevant. and many corporates actually requires support from tax professionals to manage the tax affairs. So what they can do is then they can focus on the more important things such as driving the business direction, vision, etc. And I must say then that we are also privileged that we have a good set of management led by our ED, Executive Director, as well as a team of secretariat, which is broken into technical, education, membership, disciplinary board, etc. And when we talk about the pandemic, talking about COVID-19, and if you take tax and you take COVID-19, no correlation, right? There's really no correlation. No COVID, you still got to pay tax. Yeah. But what we are seeing is that all the more we need to remain focused in embracing digitalization. What I'm seeing myself from even before the 18th of March when we had the MCO, we were like running up and down trying to manage issues with authorities in terms of would the tax filing deadline be given a little bit of a breather for taxpayers? What about my estimates, my tax payments that I've got to make on a monthly basis? What about certain tax treatment? People are talking about liquidity, talking about cash flow, and tax definitely impact the business's cash. So what we did in CTIM, we were very busy. In fact, from the 17th of March, the Ministry of Finance and also in the Revenue Board coming out with FAQs, trying to see what we can do to support businesses. And fortunate enough, as we all know, the tax filing deadline for individuals was actually extended from the original 30th April to 30th June. And I hope all of you, as if your individuals have submitted the tax returns, and
Yes.
for corporate was extended to October. So I was just giving an example. We were actually the institute that was behind all this, working very closely with the stakeholders, giving an example in terms of how we actually bring that to life and actually support our members as well as corporates and taxpayers. I've got a lot more to say, but I'll pass it back to Jasmine.
Thank you. Thanks, Farah. And the next up, I'd like to have sharing with us is Tracy Chan, because this panel is a highly unusual panel compared to the other panels that I have moderated before. Here, it's female majority, so you get to be very, very blessed in wrapping up the introduction session after Tracy. Okay, so Tracy, next up.
Thanks, Jasmine. So unlike the two lovely ladies before me, Dr. Noor and Farah, I'm not exactly from I'm not from the representative of the Bar Council, which is the association that represents where all lawyers are member of. But I'm just here as a lawyer myself to share my personal views and experiences that we went through during this COVID situation. So, but as I'm sure for most lawyers all know that we are all governed under the Bar Council, and really the Bar Council is the one that sets up our rules for the legal professional body. And then they have been very supportive for all the various lawyers through our various issues by giving us regular updates and really highlights in terms of how we should be able to go through it, as well as giving out SOPs on how we should regulate our practices. So I think that's about it I can introduce in relation towards the association itself.
Okay, and so a self-introduction in terms of your views on how the legal profession can play a role, especially in the professional services sector, to help professional services thrive post-pandemic.
Great, thanks for that, Jasmine. So as I mentioned earlier, we're as lawyers, really what we can do is we really see ourselves as there in the forefront advising clients in terms of the issues that they're facing. So many of our clients, as they're going through the COVID-19 concerns, they actually ask a lot of questions. The number one, first and foremost, main concern for everyone, employees, right? How do I handle dealing with employees, maybe downsizing my workforce, maybe reducing benefits? How do I do that in line with the required employment laws? So as lawyers, we really come in towards help guiding our clients towards navigating those issues. But not just that, we see also a lot of clients really needing to pivot in terms of the type of business that they're doing, or moving things online, or trying to take advantage of what we call these new normal, this new era in which that we globally we need to move towards too. And that's where lawyers also come in. Our professional service comes in towards really helping to guide our clients in terms of navigating the regulatory landscape. And a lot of times it's also very much there are a lot of things in doubt, because it could be that we're moving towards something that has not been really explored before, and we're all just kind of exploring differences and really understanding the legal nuances and issues. And finally, the another area which really lawyers come in very strongly on is helping to negotiate force majeure clauses and issues, especially with your contractual disputes and etc., where you're really just trying to find a way to maybe put on hold certain obligations because things just couldn't be proceeded on further. So these are certain key areas which we really see that as professional service firms, we are helping the various different types of businesses continue to thrive and grow despite the troubles that we're facing globally.
Thank you. Chan?
Hi, good morning, Jasmine. Thanks for helping to moderate this very wonderful session this morning. My great pleasure and honor to be on the same session with all the very energetic and powerful lady here, representing all the respective professional services. Also, thank you, Dr. Noor, Farah, and also Tracy for joining us. So myself, I'm Chan. I'm the founder and CEO of Exabytes. So what we do actually have one thing in common with all the panelists here, which is actually to support and help the businesses to grow, except we more specialize and focus on helping the business to grow online. So what we do is actually helping the business to create their web presence. And also nowadays, we also empower a lot of business to do their e-commerce transaction online. And we're also seeing a lot more businesses, enterprises, or even government agencies, they start to move their data online by having more digitalizations. So once again, I don't want to use all the time to do my self-introduction. I want to maximize the session here so that I can benefit all the audience. Back to you, Jasmine. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So as a general question to everybody, has your profession suffered in the pandemic? During the pandemic, has it suffered, and how? And then we will move on. So I'd like to hear from across the board, from the legal profession, from the accounting profession, from the tax profession. I think, Chan, yours was probably the only one that did well, but the rest, it would be an interesting question for all of us to understand. Shall we start with Noor?
Yeah. Well, I think during the MCO and the COVID, the risk of COVID itself, I think we are all impacted, especially our staff, the health-wise, our businesses, and our ability to be mobile. We are all affected. But it's interesting. When the MCO started, I think everyone may not be fully ready. And at that time, the essential services were announced, and the first thing that come to our mind is accountancy, and all the services under accountancy are part of essential services. So we went to a great length to have the discussion with the MKN about that. So at that time, I think the risk is high, so it's limited to just finance and banking. So, and obviously, we have under the institute about 3,000 firms that are registered, and another, I think, 1,005 out of the 3,000, about 1,005 of the firms are involved in providing audit services. So as you know, that accountancy firms, they provide many types of services other than audit. They provide tax consultancy, tax computation, and they do provide bookkeeping services or financial reporting services, as well as valuation and liquidation and whatnot. So not by I think when they are not able to engage with their clients, any professional services, when you are not reach out to your clients or your customers, I think that already is a challenge. Yeah. And when so the question was, are you ready, or are your clients ready to be engaged with you online? So, and that is really an interesting question. So among all the firms, I think there are firms which are ready and they have probably been working from home partially. So it's just, moving everyone to online working as well as remote working. But I think there are firms which are not ready, and we were trying to help them. For example, we had this collaboration with TM1, where MIA member firms are, given free access to Microsoft 365 for 6 months, and they can use Microsoft Team, Microsoft SharePoint, and all that. The institute itself, we are able to, invoke our business continuity plan, and we're all working from home. And I think we were busy than ever. A lot of consultation, for example, with MITI. So we are part of the whole group of professional service firm, the engineers, the accountant, the architects, the lawyers, bar counsel, and all that, have various meetings with MITI to come up with the SOP to enable the professional service firm to restart in the new economy. And that actually took a lot of discussions, and I think we made it. Now we are all able to restart, and we work very closely with the government. But obviously, I think it is not going back to normal 100%. I mean, it's a new normal, but in terms of other things, the clients are affected. You can see statistics from the Department of Statistics. Many of those have challenged with cash flow, and also people losing jobs. So that said, the economy, I think, in terms of projection of GDP, we do have, a reduced forecast of GDP, negative forecast, and we've seen reports by World Bank about the economy situation. Then you can see that I think our firms are having challenge with collection. So we have surveyed during MCO, we have surveyed during recovery MCO, and they are able to start, all their services. But I think they do give feedback from the survey that the collection is slower than before. So I think many professional firms are facing this as well, because we are working within the economy, and we are servicing the businesses, we're supporting businesses. Therefore, and when businesses suffer, the collection is affected. So this is where, but one thing I think that's it's good to see during this whole period, firms are more positive in terms of automation, in terms of digital adoption. They can now see the benefit that, during MCO, digital adoptions and ability to have remote working and to engage with your client remotely will be very, very helpful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where I think during those time as well, we've been collaborating with many digital providers to provide awareness, and also to provide support, and to encourage them to adopt and to move into digital workspace and digital delivery of services. So but moving forward, I think there's more plans in the future, and we work very closely with a lot of consultation and engagement with the firms. We have a roundtable with the professional service firms, again and again, to get feedback and to see which are the areas that we are able to assist the firms, in getting back to full force to support the whole economy. So, but I think, yes, of course, COVID-19 do impact all of us, but we have to pivot, and we have to explore new way of doing things and get the best of the technology and harness it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Farah, I would like to extend that question to actually all of you to see how is the tax profession doing in terms of the COVID-19, how it went through. I mean, it was a fairly long lockdown period, and then now that we are still technically in MCO, it's just recovery phase. Would like to hear from you.
Thanks, Jasmine. I think the tax profession is pretty similar to what Dr. Noor has shared earlier. And if I look at it, I wouldn't really use the word probably suffer to the extent, but maybe there is a little bit of impact, that's to the tax professionals, in the sense and that when businesses are impacted, the service providers are also impacted, and it is like a chain reaction where the support service providers would also need to be in the know and would also need to be in a place where they can continue to support the businesses during this challenging time. And why I'm saying that is that as Dr. Noor and Jasmine, Tracy and everyone was sharing earlier, keep to my mind, how do I categorize the impact to the tax professional, due to the pandemic that's facing all of us now? And I would say then that I will break it into four categories, four issues that actually came as an impact to tax professionals and also to CITIM to a large extent. The first one is the uncertainty, right? Because, tax, there's a saying, right? The only thing that's sure, confirm is tax and death, right? But the COVID situation has actually thrown all of us to the web of uncertainty, and that includes the tax position for businesses. They know that they have to actually still pay the taxes. Corporates needs to pay the taxes, but they are also challenged with the impact of the pandemic to the business, which means cash flow. And many times when we hear the announcement by the government is about supporting businesses during this challenging time, cash flow, SME packages, etc. So CITIM actually played a big role behind the scenes. I've never seen so many FAQs that we had to deal with in a span of 2 months. I mean, it's a very taxing period for us, for the tax professionals, because we were on constant touch with the Inner Revenue Board, as well to some extent with the Ministry of Finance, and also with PT in actually addressing some of the issues concerning the tax profession as well as the businesses. I give you an example. I mentioned earlier the tax filing deadline. What about the treatment of certain stimulus packages that's been announced by the government? We all have heard then that the government is giving accelerated capital allowance. Can companies actually use that during this challenging time? What are the conditions and what is the specific legislation that governs that? As well as things like the employee retention program. How do companies actually apply for that, because they really need that? So, that's just two examples I'm giving, but CITIM was actually behind that, actually supporting the government in actually addressing those issues and bringing it to the companies, as well as assisting our members to apply that and actually offer that sort of assistance to their clients. Yeah, the second one is embracing digitalization. And never ever before we've seen that everybody now is saying that actually you can work from home, right? Because in the past, right, if I say that to working moms, say for example, and I'm a working mom, I say cannot stay at home because the kids are jumping up and down, or you have to be at work because otherwise the boss will look at you one kind, right? So thinking that you're pointing in a way, but actually if you look at it, people are actually embracing digitalization in a big way, and many of our members are actually now scrambling, trying to find a way to now have adopting digital in the way they file the tax returns for their clients. Everybody's registering for online filing in almost absolute certainty, as well as making sure that they've got Teams, they've got Zoom, so that they can connect with their client. So embracing digitalization is an impact, and I think it's a positive impact to businesses. The third thing I would say is the speed of things. Everything has to be really fast, and to be honest, I can't cope with it, because if I don't read the latest updates on tax today, tomorrow will be different again. even conditions to, for example, the employee retention program that was announced by the government, there were updates, and which sector can open businesses, it changes every week. So the speed of things is also very, very important, and we were tested during this time. And I would say that we are privileged in this team because we have got the sound technical team who are always on the ball, and they were actually the one reaching out to members and reaching out to the authorities to make sure then that we give the right clarification to our members. And the last, the fourth item, which is actually, related to the first item on uncertainty, is actually people and our members and corporates wants update. We really want to know what's happening. So we have to be the one that's fast to the market, bringing all these updates. And we got to know what is the most latest update. And when it comes to tax technical legislation and, whatever, FAQs have been issued by the government, we got to be in the know and bringing it up the first to our members and also to corporates and taxpayers. Yeah. So that's how I would say it, Jasmine.
Thank you. A lot of effort being done, and nobody would have known because in that space, everything is done behind the scenes. Tracy, I'd like to know, how do you think that the legal profession can thrive post-pandemic to the new norm? Because we all know that next to bankers and accountants, lawyers are the next stuffy profession, very paper-based. My God, there's still requirement for wet signatures, which I think is so 19th century, not even 20th. And how is the legal profession going to thrive in this new norm?
Thanks, Jasmine. You're right. Our profession is still very traditional, where certain things just can't be done online and still needs to be done physically in person. But the good thing that really is very similar to what Dr. Noor and Farah both shared earlier is that we were, by virtue of the MCO, we were all forced to move online. We were all forced to work from home. And it then resulted in a lot of employers and lawyers then thinking and really reflecting back on themselves that, hey, actually it is quite possible to work remotely. It is quite possible to work online. Having said that, this is applicable a little bit more for certain types of practices compared to others. So for example, corporate practices like myself, where a lot of my work is just advising clients via email or drafting agreements or even negotiations, which can be done via Zoom or Team or etc. It was relatively easier to pivot online. But for some of my fellow colleagues, where, for example, in the conveyancing practice, where that is really significantly where a lot of the wet signature requirements come aboard because of land office requirements, etc., then it became a little bit more difficult because you have documents after documents and it's just so voluminous that it's really difficult for you to deal with online. And finally, our litigation colleagues, where courts right now are being forced to see whether they can move online. So I've heard of my colleagues where they're saying that they're having Zoom meetings or hearings and etc. But I don't think our Malaysian courts are as advanced as perhaps like in other countries like Singapore, where really they have full-on trials and hearings all via Zoom or online. For us right now, we still have physical hearings, physical trials, but then we do certainly have certain online ones as well. So I think it really depends on the level of buy-in everyone within the profession has, right? Because it extends from the courts to the relevant regulators we deal with up until our clients, and then the profession itself will then strive to do whatever we can towards meeting the various needs from these different parties. So I think that's really where lawyers come in, which is that we can thrive by continuously being on the forefront of understanding the changes behind the regulations, the changes behind the laws, the latest updates with the various points, like exactly as Farah raised earlier, right? During the first 2 weeks when MCO was first announced, those first 2 days, I was on constant calls after calls. My schedule was insane, right? I had 30-minute blocks for different clients just to tell them, okay, are your services essential services? hours? How do you operate? If you're not essential, how can you continue to provide your support back end? And then when the various different policies came out, so from your employee retention program became the wage subsidy program, that then afterwards Penjana came about, all these various things, we were just constantly on advisory mode, constantly on reading, being very fast, being very quick to churn out client updates, to give quick advice to clients, and just to help clients really try and navigate and help them understand how can they keep their operations alive during this time. So really, I think lawyers, we just need to keep doing what we do best, in that we just need to understand the law. We just need to be able to be quick to advise. And this is how we thrive. And we need to be quick to meet our clients' needs. So whatever it is, it's really the same for any professional service firm, right? Our clients need us to go online. We just need to be able to go online. Our clients, the courts need us to go online, needs us to be there physically. Then we need to do what we can do. So that's how we can continue to thrive.
Thank you. Thank you. Chan, this must be a really exciting time for your business. And I mean, for the backbone of businesses, which are these ladies, the professional services, tax, the accountants, and the legal fraternity. How are things on your side with regards to the professional services? Are you seeing more requests coming from the accountants and the auditors and the lawyers to get online and stuff like that? What are they asking?
That's for sure. I think in the past, most of the professional firms, they only required is actually website emails. But I think since COVID and pandemic, we are seeing more inquiries about, for example, how to use a proper cloud storage, the security for their desktop, and even how to backup their data accordingly. I think in general, we see in terms of our new businesses, there's a very positive growth in terms of take-up rates. But we do see some of the old customers in terms of their renewal, especially those some of them from more traditional business retails, they are also affected. But net, I think overall is quite positive. For our other side of business, for example, e-commerce and also logistics, in general, we see a very tremendous growth, 3 times, 4 times, and also a lot of our customers who are doing e-commerce trading, selling products and services online. In general, it's also very healthy growth. Some of them will grow like 10, 20x. Yeah. But having said that, I think there are still some gaps. As much as we want to embrace the new normal, but there are still some challenges. I think the biggest challenge is always a mindset, right? You're so used to the old ways of doing things, the habits and all that. But of course, the good thing is I think COVID-19 and the MCO, the lockdown, it actually change and accelerate a lot of those. But I think going back to the framework, I still think there are some gaps in between. For example, some of our processes, SOP, right? They will still require, for example, a CTC certified true copy, or certain documents you still need to do like the physical stamping. Some agencies or some banks and all that, you still need the paperwork to be handed over the counter. And some agreements you may also require to do like sign physically, ink and all that. But I believe these are the issues being identified and been accelerated in a way. So I think after this post-MCO, I believe there'll be some new framework who will take care of all these small gaps and can also prepare ourselves as a citizen and also businesses for a better digital future. And in case something like that unfortunately need to happen again, everyone is more prepared, right? The business will be less impacted. Other than that, I think in general, I think, for example, in the first 2-3 weeks of the when the lockdown been announced, right, we saw a lot of businesses is actually handicapped. For example, their employees are not equipped with laptops, right? All they are using a physical PC. So when announced that you can't go back to office, you need to work from home, they don't have the proper equipment. Or even at home, they have to fight the laptops or computers with their kids, because the kids also need to go online learning, right? So I think the businesses need to take these windows where things are slowly getting more stable. They need to better equip themselves, right? For example, upgrade their home broadband, get themselves sufficient laptops or resources for themselves and for the kids. And also, I think they need to start embrace certain tools or softwares, right? For example, a proper cloud storage for businesses, CRM, so that you can manage your customers' records and all that. And I think lastly, I wanted to stress is actually the mindset in terms of best practices, right? For example, the laptops you use to do all your accounting works and all that, probably you don't want to share with your kids for their home learning, right? You don't want them accidentally share the screen and expose all the sensitive data, things like that, right? So I think in general, I think COVID changed a lot of things. But I think there are also the negative side, but also there are a lot of positive side. And finally, I think we talk about the payment and also cash flow. A lot of businesses, they were actually badly affected. It's not like they don't have businesses, but they have difficulties collecting payment, right? Difficulty collecting payment, I think there are two aspects. One is, of course, some customers are not back to work, so the customers can't process a payment because a lot of payment process, they are very offline. And the other part is, of course, they don't have a digital way of collecting payment. Customers still need to issue check and all that. So I think these weaknesses been exposed, and I think moving forward, there'll be a lot more new solutions. Actually, most of the solutions are out there, but in the past, people still get used to old ways of doing things. But with the COVID and the lockdown MCO, I think that will actually trigger most of the businesses to think about now seriously, I need to embrace and adopt all kind of digital solutions. Thank you.
Yeah.
Going back to you.
Thanks. So from a professional standpoint, I mean, I used to be a banker, and banking is one of the last financial services stuffy profession, so to speak. Certain things we still require wet signature. And this is where I like to put the question to the three ladies here. Why do we still need wet signatures? Because coming in from the fintech side of things now, looking at tech and how advanced tech has become, there are security softwares out there, authentication softwares out there that are way better than a physical one, because wet signatures can be frauded, and issues do arise with paperwork not doing what it's supposed to do, despite the fact that there is a signature there. How will the profession, through this COVID, because I see COVID as a catalyst into digitalization and digitization of services and industries, how will COVID play a role in terms of propelling the industry forward, and how are the respective associations pushing this move, I would like to say, into the right direction with the energy that you have and the machinery that you have? Dr. Noor, if we could start with you.
Yeah, so actually very interesting about what you said about wet signature. Well, this goes back to our work in terms of the digital technology blueprint. So in our digital technology blueprint, we identified 5 key areas where we need to address, and we have been disseminating this information, and we spoke to many of our members. We spoke in many events regarding these 5 important things. So the first thing is, are there awareness? We ask everyone to get awareness on the all the tools and the technologies that are available within this IR 4.0. Because if you're not aware, you don't know what opportunities that lies in front of you. And the second one, we actually ask everyone to upskill, to obtain the skill set and to enhance capabilities in your organization, be it if you're firms or if you're corporates, accountants working in corporates, or any professionals working in corporates, or you are in government. Identify those that you can upskill, those that can be the champion of technology, and those who can help the others also in technology adoption. And the third one, we are actually advising companies and corporates and organizations to set aside the budget to adopt, the budget to move forward, the investment. So we have been in conversations, and time and again we receive feedback that, wow, it's costly, we need to pay license per month, subscription per year, things like that. But we also encourage them to look at the benefit, and also on the other hand to look at the risk if you don't adopt. So I think MCO is one example, the risk of not adopting technology. So because we have started this journey on advocacy on technology adoption quite some time, for a few years, and the blueprint came out in 2018. So we've been in road shows to showcase technology to the professional firms. So when MCO came, those who are already on board, I think those already on cloud computing, they may not find it difficult. But if your accounting software is silo, desktop based, and you have difficulty because you are not able to be in office. So the fourth thing is about the getting the adoption. Go on ahead with that, and do not hesitate to adopt. So and but number five, the fifth principle is very important. It's about the governance. We are very aware that we do have challenges in terms of data sharing. We've spoken to many organizations and agencies that have, I think, challenges in data sharing, especially government agencies, because you need data sometimes to populate your policies and to come out with the best policy. So, and this is where the question about why still wet signatures, we do have challenges in that part as well, because the auditors, before they actually finalize the audited accounts, they need stat declaration, and they need that to be done with commissioner for oath. And during MCO, where do you go, and which commissioner for oath are available for them to get that attestation? So we are there are those challenges. So this is where, again, I think the governance part, our work in that area is we get people together, accountants, and also those from other industries, to sit down and looking at, are there laws that need to be amended. So during COVID, we are aware that MOF is coming out with the COVID-19 law. We are also behind that scene. We have given our feedback. And so this is, again, we need to map and find out all those uh, you know probably laws, regulation that limit us in terms of moving forward. And can it and then the question is, how about if we do it, if we move to digital, and what are the risks? So what are the controls? As you said, we have all the security controls and whatnot. So as far as the institute itself, MIA, we have moved all our members engagement, everything on cloud. Our members are able to renew their license, do application, pay their fees, all through an online system, and cloud based, anytime, everywhere that they want to do that. So we think that these provide leadership to the rest, in terms of now they are in the environment that they can actually do it on cloud. So there are many areas that need to be handled. So first, I think the leadership from the association, to so to speak, or the step body, is very important in getting this done. That's where our initiative on the bank confirmation is actually an industry initiative. So now we have about almost 400 firms who are already on board using the e-confirm, and we already have 8 banks already part of the ecosystem, and we're talking to more banks to come on board, and more firms. We're hoping that all the 1,500 firms will come on board in the ecosystem. And we spent almost, I think, more than 4 years to get this project finally rolled out. But we feel it's really pertinent, it's really critical for us to lead the way, and for us to coordinate this project as an industry-wide project. And moving forward, we also receive requests from the firms about legal confirmation. So if we were to do that, to have an online legal confirmation, then we need to work with Bar Council. And this is where I think collaboration is very, very important. Collaboration is the way to go, especially in thriving in this pandemic, and it makes us together stronger. So I
Definitely.
think, yeah.
I agree, and I hear you with regards to how the ecosystem needs to come together. And Farah, I'd like to ask you, because you're representing all the technician professional, is there no way that you can access the country's petty cash box through LHDN to say, will you support the tax professional industry to come online so that taxation in the future will be a lot more seamless? It is all online today. It is still very much dependent on individual tax company and professionals to put themselves online, put their processes online, and so on and so forth. Is there such a thing that can be mooted with the government agency, because they will stand to gain the most, especially with a centralized system that is directly accessing to them, makes reporting and reconciliation a lot easier. Enforcement too.
Good question, Jasmine. So there are three prongs to this. I think the taxation, the first is the taxation profession itself. And I think it has gone a long way. I would say then that the digitalization of taxation has been here for many years now. We have already started e-filing. I've not heard of anyone that has not done e-filing. It's just so easy. I've had uncles, who says in that, oh, I cannot log in. But once he gets in, a 70-year-old can do their tax returns easy peasy, not an issue at all. And e-filing has been there for many years. What you need to do is just to get an e-certificate. And I've not heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, panel, I've not heard of any fraudulent cases where my tax return has been exposed to someone else and has been used for purposes of getting loans and all that. So far, security is good. There are no issues with breaches and all that. So fingers crossed. So on that aspect, the tax profession has gone far in actually converting everything online, and it's fantastic. The second bit I'd like to see is, and that includes e-stamping as well. And I'm sure Tracy would know then that for stamping a document, you can also do e-stamping. You don't have to have the hard ink stamping, but you can do e-stamping as well. In fact, your tax return, there's a stamp to say that you have submitted your tax return. That's good. The second one I would say is the CITIM itself. So CITIM has also embarked into digitalizing a lot of things. We've done webinars, because one of our main objective is continuous education and training to our professional members. So we have done a series of webinars, and our team has been very busy conducting everything online because learning continues. And that we also have done eCTIM for many years now. I can't remember exactly how many years, but easily more than 5 years. So any dissemination of information is through our website, and members are being shared information on the latest development on taxation matters through what we call eCTIM. And take pride in that, because there are a lot of thought that goes in, including dialogues, including sessions that we've had with authorities, in ensuring then that the latest information is being shared to members and the tax professionals. Anyone can have access as long as they are members to CTIM, and they get access to information, and which is useful for them either as a corporate or as a tax agent in actually fulfilling their duties. So that's the second point I'd like to reiterate here. And the third point I'd like to say isn't that you mentioned, Jasmine, e-signature, using the use of e-signature and all that. I don't see that there is an issue with the tax profession because of everything now can be done online. Except for maybe Tracy would be the better person to say, to share this, is maybe from a legal perspective. When you execute contract, there's still a need to have the ink wet signature. But what we have done for the professionals as well as in that we have actually moved on to use tools like DocuSign, for example. yeah, where you can actually sign digitally. Of course, there's an envelope. You have to, per envelope cost how much. So you got to do that. And with that also, I think the authorities and the government, including the CITAM, we have used a lot of data to mine information and to be used for future purposes. So that's how we've embraced digitalization in the tax profession.
Thank you. Thanks, Farah. Tracy, would you like to comment further with regards to, well, I know you're not representing the Bar Council, but from a legal fraternity perspective, how is the legal fraternity enabling further digitization of all this administrative professional services infrastructure industry that companies and businesses need?
Tracy, just hang on before you answer that. Jasmine, just let you know, we'll have to wrap things up pretty soon. And we actually have one question in the Q&A box, so if you can answer that during this session, that would be great.
Yeah.
But we really have to wrap things up in the next 3 to 5 minutes, just to let you know.
Sure. Closing thoughts.
Thanks, Lauren and Jasmine. Very quickly, I will just kind of quickly wrap up. So really in terms of digital signatures or e-signatures, I just want to quickly highlight that from a commercial perspective, it's actually allowed, right? So you have the E-Commerce Act that actually specifically allows electronic signatures in a commercial context. But there are certain criteria that do need to be complied with in respect of those e-commerce signature, electronic signatures. So just take a quick look at that. There's also the Digital Signatures Act, where digital signatures that do comply with all these requirements under the Digital Signatures Act can also be perfectly acceptable. And all that aside, we come back down to the basics in terms of contracts law, right? Even if your signatures don't meet the requirements for an electronic signature or a digital signature, the fact is that have parties agreed towards creating a binding contract or created legal relations. And through your actions and through the agreements, then you can also presume that would be in place already. So there are all these various considerations in place. However, there are certain other things that we do need to take into consideration, which is what Dr. Noor and Farah both alluded to earlier, which would be things like statutory declarations. Pursuant to the Statutory Declaration Act, you still need to sign it before a Commissioner for Oaths or Notary Public, etc., etc. So because of that, wet signatures are still required, right? Because there is that requirement. Powers of attorneys as well. So it comes back down to looking at the specific form or the specific instrument you're looking at. And this is where really, as what Dr. Noor mentioned earlier, a lot of collaboration is needed. Collaboration is required amongst all the key regulators, key stakeholders to see if everyone is ready towards moving online. I agree with Farah. Tax is one of those where it's way ahead of the curve in that a lot of things have already been moved online, but there are still a number of other regulators and industries that do need to move towards that as well. So land office, your CCM possibly. CCM is actually quite online, but there are certain things that you still need to file physically where you still need the wet signatures, etc., etc. So these are all various issues that really can't be resolved until everyone is aligned. But from the very, very basic point, your everyday contracts, your internal documents, electronic signature, digital signatures, no problem, go ahead, use them. But do take note of what context your documents are. And if it is required for certain regulatory requirements, then you do need to meet those requirements.
Thank you. So where understanding the requirements is where people should come and look for you, right?
Yes,
I'm going to wrap. Right. I'm going to wrap with this question to Chan. With regards to a question from Chun Bing Chu, he would like to understand on e-signing internal documents and confirmation, is there a software or an app that you could recommend? Is there something you could share?
Yes, there are actually quite numbers of software out there, and some of it is even free if the usage is not high. For example, I think Farah mentioned like DocuSign. Personally, our company, we are using HelloSign, and there are also like Sign Easy. So just do a Google at the app stores, you find a lot of solutions, and they are very reliable and safe.
Okay, and is there any particular accreditation that they should look for when you take on an e-signing software or app, like, you know, that it is been approved by Cybersecurity Malaysia or something like that? Is there something that they should look out for?
That's not that I'm aware of, but I think being commonly used is actually DocuSign, HelloSign, and Sign Easy. These three are actually quite dominant.
Okay, Okay, great.
Just to quickly add on that, for digital signatures specifically, there are only a list of accredited companies. So just take note of that. Electronic signatures, which is I think what DocuSign and HelloSign or the rest would have, then there wouldn't be an equivalent.
Okay, thank you. So that wraps up our session, and obviously we've ran out of time, as Lauren had already shared. And I would like to thank each and every one of my wonderful panelists here. You guys have been great, and I hope that the audience have found the information that you shared very helpful and insightful. And I know COVID is a disaster for the economy, but I also believe that the silver lining is that it now pushes everybody into the Industrial Revolution 4.0 effectively. Otherwise, before COVID, it was a lot of rah-rah bandwidth, and everybody's just hopping onto this new keyword. But today there is actual movement and action. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. And I think we have one last question, or let me just check. Okay, Tracy, they would like to know where would they find the list of accredited digital signature app?
Sorry, I will need to actually check on that because really we're looking at accredited digital signatures. It means they're accredited pursuant to the Digital Signature Act.
Yeah.
But let me just double check. I'll come back to you guys on that point.
Okay, great. Thank you. Over to you, Lauren.
All right.
Thank you to Jasmine as a moderator. You have been wonderful.
Let's
Thank
give
you,
her a
Jasmine.
virtual round of applause, guys. Thank you so much. A big thank you to our panel discussion here. You guys, I'm so sorry. I wish we had more time because I felt that we just picked up the pace and we were talking about so many interesting things. And I'd like to thank all of you for giving your insight and a new perspective to the new normal on professional service firms. Tracy, why don't you go ahead and step out? I'll see you in just a bit. And once again, a big thank you to our moderator, Jasmine, Chan, Dr. Noor, Farah, and Tracy. Thank you so much once again for your insight. I'll see you guys real soon, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.